Hey guys, Kaiju here, and today I will be doing my 50th video. My 50th video will be my top 30 favorite Godzilla films. So just before I begin this video, I just want to notify you guys that this video is based on my opinion and it may differ from yours. So let's begin. So for number 30, I have Godzilla 1954 or Gojira. Now the reason why this film is so low on my list is because, well, basically it is a black and white film and it was made in the 50s. Now like digging deeper into why is because, well, I was born in 2003, so I'm used to like the modern films. Now since Godzilla 1954 is a black and white film, I'm not really used to it, so that's why I don't really like it so much. But for what it is, I think it's a really awesome film. So for number 29, I have Godzilla's Revenge. Now I think you guys can tell why this film is so low on my list. And if you can't, well, number 1, Minya talks, and number 2, the Kaiju Gabra. So yeah, that is why this film is so low on my list. So yeah, let's move on to number 28. So let's move on to number 28, which is Godzilla 1998. And again, I hope you can tell why this film is so low on my list. But if you can't, well, I'll tell you. So this film does not include Godzilla. Instead, it includes this iguana-like creature that Toho renamed Zilla. So when this film was released in 1998, many audiences were depressed because the main creature, well, the only creature, was not Godzilla, and that's why it is a really bad film, in my opinion. So next up, we have Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. And this film is mainly, really low on my list, mainly because, well, this is a common opinion about this film, that this film is pretty boring. Now I haven't seen this film in a while, but I could say that this film is all over the place. There's this giant condor that barely makes an appearance, and this giant condor, when it appears, we can barely see its body. The film is really cheesy, and I think there was a lot of human scenes. And the fight with Godzilla and Ebra was, I think, pretty boring. So for number 26, I have Son of Godzilla. So this film was mainly made to introduce Godzilla's son. And when I first watched this film, I didn't really have an opinion on Godzilla's son and like the whole movie itself. But when I'm watching this now, well, I have a real opinion. Godzilla's son, well, I think he's fat. The whole movie itself, well, yeah, so and so. I think it's pretty good. My problem with Godzilla's son is that he is very human-like, and he has to be like a monster, like really, really bulky. The film itself, I think it's pretty good. I don't really have any major concerns for the film, except for Godzilla's son, you know. So for number 25, I have Godzilla Raids Again. So the reason this film is so low on my list is mainly because I am not used to black and white films, as I already told you in this video. I'm born in 2003, I was born in 2003, and I'm used to modern films and not black and white films, and that's why I don't really like this film so much. So for number 24, I have Godzilla vs. Mothra, the Showa version. In my opinion, I think this film is, well, so-and-so. I think it's bad mainly because the Mothra larvas defeated Godzilla. The good thing is that I think the plot is most of the plot is pretty good. So for number 23, I have Godzilla vs. Hedorah. In my opinion, I think Godzilla vs. Hedorah is a really good film, to be honest. Ghidorah itself, well, I think it is pretty good. The plot, okay, I think the plot is also pretty good. What I don't like about this film is those weird animation things that constantly keep coming and annoying people who are watching this film. What I do like about this film are the monster fights, which are, in my opinion, pretty good. So for number 22, I have King Kong vs. Godzilla. Now the reason this film is so low on my list is mainly because number one, it's pretty cheesy, and number two, we don't even know who wins. But I do like the funny events. For example, King Kong stuck a tree in Godzilla's throat. In my opinion, I think that was pretty funny. So for number 21, I have Invasion of the Astro Monster. So why this film is so low on my list is mainly because it's almost a remake of Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. But I do like the aliens, the plot, the monsters, and obviously the monsters fights, or the monsters fighting. Now I haven't seen this film in a really long time, so I don't really remember stuff from the plot. But I do remember that they introduced Planet X and the aliens and the outer space thing, and I really like the idea of that. So let's move on to number 20, which is Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. In my opinion, I think this film is actually pretty good. What I like about it is that I love that they introduced Ghidorah, and I really like the end fight where Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra team up to fight Ghidorah. Now what I don't like about this film is that Ghidorah is way too agile. His next move way too fast. His heads need to be a little bit more cooler looking, and his legs need to be a little bit more bulky. So yeah, that's my opinion, and again, it may be different from yours. So next up, we have number 19, which is Godzilla vs. Gigan. So why this film is so low on my list is mainly because I don't think King Ghidorah should have been in this film, and that's mainly because King Ghidorah with Gigan, I think that if those two monsters fought Godzilla and Angus, they would overpower them. And instead of King Ghidorah, they should have put in another monster that's weaker than King Ghidorah, and that would make it a match against Godzilla and Angus. The good thing about this film is that I love that they introduced Gigan, and in my opinion, Gigan is a really cool monster. So for number 18, I have Godzilla vs. Megalon. In my opinion, this film is so-and-so. I really like the fact that they included Godzilla, Gigan, and Megalon. But Jet Jaguar, so-and-so. I think Jet Jaguar could have been a little bit more cooler. And I think Megalon's design could have been a little bit more cooler too. So for number 17, I have Destroy All Monsters. Now I haven't watched this film yet, so I can't tell you guys my opinion on like the plot, the characters and stuff like that, the monsters, yeah. But I did hear people say things like that there is a lot of human scenes in this film, and that's what makes this film pretty boring, but I think the end fight would have made up for it. Now I wish adult Mothra was in this film, and Baragon was only seen in a few shots, and I wish she was in the final fight, and so was Manda. The only good thing in this film, in my opinion, is the final battle between the monsters and Ghidorah. For number 16, I have Terror of Mechagodzilla. Now why this film is so low on my list is because I wish Titanosaurus was on Godzilla's side. So if Titanosaurus is on Godzilla's side, then it would probably be like a remake of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 1974. Then if we add another ally to Mechagodzilla, then it would be like a 2-on-2, and I think that would be pretty cool. Now the good things about this film is that number one, Mechagodzilla is in it, which I think is really awesome. Number two, they introduced Titanosaurus, which I think is pretty good, and the battles, which also I think are pretty cool. So for number 15, I have Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. In my opinion, I think Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla is a really awesome film. I really love Mechagodzilla's design, and I like the plot, and I also really love the final battle. Now, what they could have improved in this film is that I think they could have lowered the amount of missile weapons Mechagodzilla could have had. For example, he could have the eye laser. Maybe he should have like a flamethrower in his mouth. He could have the hand missiles, and maybe not the knee missiles and the leg missiles. And the chest cannon, I think, is okay. So for number 14, I have Godzilla 1984. Now, why this film is so low on my list is mainly because the thing is that other films are just better than this one. I really loved the special effects, the plot, Godzilla's suit. I really loved everything about this film. In my opinion, I think this film is really awesome. But other films are just better than this one, in my opinion. So I don't really have any problems with this film. As I said, it's a really awesome film. Other films are just better than this one, again, in my opinion. So for number 13, I have Godzilla vs. Biollante. Now, why this film is so low on my list, again, is mainly because number one, I think the final battle should have been a little bit longer. I don't think it should have just ended off being Biollante spitting her sap on Godzilla. The second thing is that I don't think the rose form of Biollante should have been in this film, or I don't think Biollante should have had a rose form. For some odd reason, I don't really know what my reason is, but it's something something about the rose form of Biollante just disturbs me. I don't know what it is. So yeah. Now the good things about this film are that in my opinion, number one, I love Biollante's design. She looks amazing. And that's why I really want the final battle to be longer, because I want to see more of Godzilla vs. Biollante. Number two, I really love the plot. In my opinion, I think the plot of this film is really interesting. So for number 12, I have Godzilla vs. Mothra, Battle for Earth. In my opinion, I think this movie is so-and-so. I really love Batra. He is one of my favorite characters. Mothra, in my opinion, I think she is fat in this film. The plot is also, in my opinion, so-and-so. The problem with the plot is that it just doesn't appeal out to me. It's not as good as the other films. And that's why it's not one of my favorite plots. So yeah, as I said, this film, in my opinion, is so-and-so. So let's move on to number 11. And number 11 is Godzilla vs. Megaguirus. Now, I don't understand why most fans kind of dislike this film. In my opinion, I think this film is pretty good. Megaguirus' design is so-and-so. The plot, in my opinion, I think it's okay. The final battle was really cool. Now, Godzilla getting sucked into a black hole, in my opinion, I think that is kind of dumb, and but also I think it is pretty cool. Now, why I think Godzilla getting sucked into a black hole is cool is, well, think about it. Godzilla is getting sucked into a black hole. Doesn't just a little bit of it sound cool to you guys? Well, to me, a little bit more sounds cool, and that's why I think it's cool, but also dumb at the same time. So moving on, for number 10, I have Godzilla 2000. So in my opinion, I think this film is actually pretty cool. I really love Godzilla 2000's design, and I also really love Orga's design. Now, what makes this film so low on my list is because well, other films are just better than this, and yeah. The special effects on the plot are also really cool, but again, other films are just better than this one, and that's what makes it so kind of low on my list. So for number 9, I have Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. In my opinion, I think this film is really cool. I really like the monsters, the characters, and the special effects and the plot. But I think Mechagodzilla 2's design could have been a little bit more cool, especially his head. And if you see in the poster here, if you see Mechagodzilla's head, I think that's how Mechagodzilla head should have looked in the film. And for number 8, I have Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. So in my opinion, I think this film is awesome. Characters are awesome, monster fights are awesome, special effects are awesome, and what else? Final battle is awesome. Just everything about this film is awesome. Except for one thing. What bugs me about this film is that there are too many monsters. There's Godzillasaurus, there's Mecha King Ghidorah, there's King Ghidorah, and there's also Godzilla himself. And what even bugs me more is that there are 2 incarnations of King Ghidorah and 2 incarnations of Godzilla in one film, and I think that's a little bit too much. But everything else in this film is pretty good in my opinion. So for number 7, I have Godzilla Tokyo SOS. In my opinion, I think this film is so-and-so. If Mothra wasn't in this film, it would have been awesome. Because Mothra's presence in this film just bugs me for some reason. But the monster fights are awesome, the characters are awesome, special effects are awesome, everything is awesome except for Mothra because they just tried to add her in the films because they want money. Now, I'm not trying to be mad at the character Mothra, but I'm kind of disliking that Toho puts Mothra in almost every of their films, so just because they want money. So for number 6, I have Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. So my opinion on this film is that it is pretty awesome. The special effects are awesome in my opinion. Kiryu itself is awesome. The monster battles are awesome. The plot is pretty good, and the human characters are also pretty good. Now, why this is better than Godzilla Tokyo SOS is that Godzilla Tokyo SOS has Mothra interfering in it, as I said earlier. And again, I'm not trying to be rude to the character Mothra, but I'm disliking that Toho put Mothra in almost every of their films just to get money. Now, down to my top 5 favorite films. For number 5, I have Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. In my opinion, I think this film is pretty good. The plot is pretty good. The Space Godzilla's design is, well, awesome actually, in my opinion. The monster battles are so-and-so. Special effects are also pretty good, and yeah. Now, 2 problems I have with this film is that number 1, Space Godzilla could have had a better name, and number 2, I think the monster battles are a little bit too long. But what I like most about this film is Space Godzilla's design. I think he looks really awesome. And down to number 4, we have Godzilla vs. Destroyer. In my opinion, this film is one of my all-time favorite films. I love Destroyer's design. He is one cool-looking and powerful monster. Even Burning Godzilla had trouble defeating him. I also really love the plot, the special effects, and kind of the monster battles. Now, the problem I have with the monster battles is that, the thing is, Destroyer keeps appearing and then disappearing, appearing and then disappearing. If all the monster battle scenes were, like, put into one piece, I think I would have loved the monster battle scenes a little bit more. Now, two nitpicks I have about this film is that, number one, I wish Destroyer's arms were longer. His arms are basically tiny stubs. If Destroyer's arms were longer, I think it would have helped Destroyer more in battle. AKA, it would be more useful for Destroyer. Number two, I wish Destroyer could withstand ice. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, at the end of Godzilla vs. Destroyer, while Godzilla and Destroyer are battling, the freezer tanks come in to freeze Godzilla, and while they do that, they also freeze Destroyer to death. And I wish Destroyer could withstand the ice, and then burning Godzilla would defeat him on his own, rather than the army, the freezer army defeating Destroyer. And for number three, I have Godzilla Final Wars. In my opinion, I think this film is, I don't even know where to start. Number one, it's crazy. Number two, it's awesome. And number three, I do have a few nitpicks of this film. So the few nitpicks are that, I wish Godzilla defeated Kaiser Ghidorah independently. What I mean by that is that, I wish Godzilla didn't depend on the Gotengo to defeat Kaiser Ghidorah. Now we know that if Godzilla didn't depend on the Gotengo, he would have been killed. But if Godzilla had the power to emit a nuclear pulse like he did in the Heisei era, he could have emitted a nuclear pulse, regenerated his powers, and then killed off Kaiser Ghidorah by blowing all three of his heads by his nuclear breath. And now we're down to number two. So for number two, I have Godzilla 2014. Now why this film isn't number one is because, well, now first of all I can say about this film is that it is amazing. The CGI especially. The CGI is amazing, the special effects is amazing, the plot is amazing, the monster battles is especially amazing, and the characters, so and so. The problem about the characters, in my opinion, is that, well, Bryan Cranston was awesome, but Aaron Taylor Johnson and the other characters, they were not so good in this film. Another thing that makes me put this film in second place is the monster appearance, especially for Godzilla, and the cuts. The cuts frequently appear in the monster scenes, and Godzilla appeared for, like, let's say 20 minutes. But if I take all these problems out of the way, I think this film would be awesome. So let's move on to number one. And for number one, I got GMK, or Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah Giant Monsters All Out Attack. So what makes me put this film in number one is special effects. The incarnation of Godzilla, the suits, the monster battles, the characters, and almost everything else about this film is awesome. But I do have one tiny nitpick on this film, and that is that King Ghidorah could have been a little bit more evil and a little bit more taller, and he could have towered Godzilla. But again, everything else about this film is awesome. And that is about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys later.